So I'm Simon Huggins, and I'm going to talk about two girls, one on each knee, without getting HR involved, and with Tanya in the room. So using the word, just to set this out, using the word girl to refer to a woman over 16 is patronising, and you shouldn't do it. However, if you took Pat Butcher and Ella Fitzgerald, and you put them together, you might get patella, which is and you have one on each knee. So this is a talk about cryptic crosswords. So the title, the clue was used as the title of a book by Alan Connor, who writes for us as well, celebrating the centenary of the first crossword, which was written by Arthur Wynne, 21st of December 1913, and it was written. The clue was written by Roger Squires, who wrote for the Daily Telegraph in 2007. So a clue has about 4 parts, probably more, but the surface is just the phrase. So, photograph monster that's seen in the garden. This doesn't actually mean you're going into your garden and taking a picture of a monster, because you're going to get some wordplay. So, for instance, the wordplay here, this is a bit like a charade. So if you took a word for photograph and a word for monster, that's the wordplay in blue and green there. You might get the snap for photograph, you might get dragon for monster. Something you see in the garden is your definition, and that would be snapdragon, then, obviously, which is a 10-letter word for something you see in the garden. And at the end, you have, in brackets, the length, which sometimes has dashes in for hyphens and commas for multiple words and so on and so forth. So Sally Goebel, who I don't think's in the room, said at one point when she was doing the crossword apps that cryptics are simple. They are, but you sort of have to know how, and you know some conventions. So help here might be SOS, nothing might be 0, so it might be an O, and fair would be so-so. But there are loads of conventions, so over time you learn some of these. So you've got like R for river, like on maps. Points are often compass points. Partners might be bridge partners, so you might have north and south or east and west if they talk about partners. Love in tennis is 0, so you might get an O from that. They use elements, but we love punning in crosswords. So if you see copper, it might be CU for copper, the element, but it also might be PC because it's a policeman. Numbers are Roman numerals, but numbers are things that numb you. So maybe number is referring to anaesthetic. Yeah. You probably think cryptic crosswords are just anagrams. So anagrams exist. They have crazy indicators like about and off, but also we like punning. So kinky and eccentric and weird. Here the anagram indicator is at fault in green, and housing team on site at fault means at fault means it's an anagram. Team on site means scribble out letters just like I did here. And then you end up with maisonette, which means housing. This one is using about as an anagram indicator. C and C's talked for the letters. And you end up with a provider of light transport. If you're transporting your candle as your light, you really want a candlestick. So it's all about puns, and that's why I enjoy it. Hidden answers are simple. Everyone can spot heron in there, right? So kept by, I mean, it helps that it's in blue. Kept by is the indicator that there's a hidden answer, and bird is the definition. Cooking equipment taken back from heiress I tormented. So here we're saying taken back from. So we're taking some letters backwards. So we're starting here and going backwards for 10 letters to get some cooking equipment, which is rotisserie. This is what they do at lunchtimes, by the way. Double definitions are quite good fun. So nail biting might be very exciting, but also nail biting is a filthy habit. Ari Cobain, for example, isn't a runner, so not a starter would be non-runner. And you can get triple definitions like handover, identity card, and while away, which all are synonyms for pass, because you pass the salt, you use a pass to get in the building, and you pass time you while away time. Construction ones, so initially you take first letters, for instance, so something troubling your eye is sty. Isn't that a beautiful clue? Because something troubling your eye initially, that just means sty. Site includes yes, okay. So site was place, and then you put an A inside and you get palace for a splendid residence. Cryptic definitions are more punny than anything else. So remember Pooh's imaginary, bear in mind. Too old to walk up and down here. If you were over the hill, you might not be able to get over the hill. But this is why I love cryptic crosswords. And you should all try it, because it's great fun. And you should try it by buying a book and by doing the Everyman, which is in the Observer, which is quite an easy one. Or there's the Quick Tick that we also publish. And 15squared.net has all of the answers for the Guardian cryptics decoded in similar ways to the ways I've done them here. So you can see what the definition was and why it works like that. And I leave you with a clue from Private Eye. Private Eye has some of the filthiest crossword clues with some of the most innocuous answers. So Kylie's knocked one out for the peasants. You can answer that in your own free time. Thank you very much.